So welcome to AME's 2-second lean leaders roundtable. Our last one was in August, so it's been a couple of months since we did one of these, but we've got some incredible leaders today that are going to sit around the table. I'm going to introduce firstly our resident leaders. Obviously, Paul Akers is
Hey
absolutely
everyone.
great. Paul's here. We have Bernard from New Zealand. By the way, Paul's in Da Nang right now. And then we have Alex, who's in the States. Are you probably in Houston or somewhere else? I'm not sure.
Yes.
And we've got three wonderful guest leaders today. We have Alison from Seating Matters,
Hi.
who is in Ireland. We have Pablo, who's in Argentina, and Brannon, who's in the States. So
Well, we're gonna sleepwalk through this thing. No, I'm just kidding. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's 4 o'clock in the morning for me. No, first of all, thank you everyone for coming. There's so many cool people on there. Mark Warren's on the chat. Mark Warren should be doing the whole thing right now. He's an amazing lean guy. And Mark, thanks for all your influence with the 2-second lean community. We appreciate that. So what we're gonna do is simply take the questions, and then I'm gonna, give them to everyone impromptu and let them answer quickly. You only have 60 seconds to answer, so nobody can bloviate, nobody can go on and on. Just keep it quick, and I'm going to shut up and let's get going.
all right. So the first question from one of our resident attendees from Putra in Canada. How have you navigated improvements that eliminate non-value added for one area, but create non-value added for another?
Okay, Bernard, it's all
Wow,
yours.
that's a hard question. Okay.
It's a hard question. I could answer that
You
pretty
start, Paul.
easily.
You start, Paul.
Yeah, well, we don't do that, because why would we do that? We would train our people so that they know the difference. They know what influences people upstream and downstream. I mean, why would you create non-value add activity for somebody else? So, you'd have to give me a hard example on what you're talking about, but in general, no, we wouldn't do that. We would always be aware of what our actions do to produce to somebody upstream or downstream. Go ahead, Allison, you want to try it?
Yeah, so I would say that if there is a case where there is one improvement that actually it is better for a department and it does put a little bit more time onto someone else's department, is the improvement better for the customer? So does it actually make better quality for the customer? And if it does, then we'll go with that. Is it safer? Absolutely. Then we'll go with that. So there are a few non-negotiables that we would allow
Great answer.
extra non-value or extra
Great
waste to
answer.
happen somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay, Brandon, how about you?
Her answer was so good, I'm not even sure how to add to it. It was a great answer, but and I agree with what everybody said. I mean, they really have to look upstream and downstream, right? Like, you got to be like, don't pass a defect on to the next person, don't pass on a problem to the next group either, and just teach your people to be a team and to care about one another. And I think they'll think outside of their immediate area. That would be my answer.
Exactly. Good. Okay, Pablo.
So for us, after we found out the problem and we made an improvement, we constantly check of the solution and how it impacts on the customer. So that's my answer.
Okay, good. And Pablo, by any chance, you don't have a pair of headsets or something, because you're really echoey. And then let's go ahead to Alex. Alex, how are you doing?
Good
morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
That I'm like you. I would not probably accept deteriorating someone else to have non-value. I would challenge to find another solution.
Right. Okay. Good.
So
good.
Just,
I like how pithy.
Yeah, just to maybe ground this one, probably this might be a situation where your downstream customer may well be on another site or remote or somewhere like that. So it's hard to understand the impact of what you're doing in the future until you've actually rolled it out. So that may be where Putra's coming from. Okay. All right, let's get to the next question. Next question. My question is, how do we get kids pumped for lean? You buy, look at Paul's book.
Yeah. Allison, go ahead. It's all yours.
Well, I'm very, very fortunate that I actually have one of my children working at Seating Matters and is a super lean enthusiast. So I would say lead by example. There's lots of ways that you can teach and train the world, like what Paul has done with his book. And we've seen that Norm had brought schools in to visit his company so that he could then show people what a standard is for those kids for when they do go out into the working world. But for me personally, I lead by example, and I have a super lean enthusiast child myself.
Okay. Super. Alex, you have children? Go for it.
Yes, and I was just laughing in my head here because it's exactly as it happens in the shop. I have 3 kids. One of them, the older one, Sebastian, he'll follow me. He'll do some examples, but not like really passionate. I have the middle one that doesn't really care a damn about it.
Yeah.
But I have my daughter, which is 13 years old, and she's all over it. And it's just like we hear it's by example. She sees me doing improvements. She wants to mimic and enjoys the heck out of it. So by example.
Good. Pablo, you have children?
Yeah, I have 3 girls, Matilda 15, Amparo 10, and Carmela 5. And Amparo is the top of the lean maniac of the 3. And I lead them by pulling and not pushing. Every time she got an idea or something that she wanted to change in her bedroom, I constantly pull, and offer her tools to make her improvement.
Awesome. Okay, Brandon.
My 3 kids couldn't be any more different from one another. They're completely unique. And so I have to approach it unique with each one of them and just kind of understand what appeals to them. And if you're doing something that doesn't appeal to them, you're not going to get very far. So when I teach or I explain or I show them what I'm doing, I have one son that's more like an engineer, and I have to get him interested in the technical part of things and how much easier it makes and show him those type of things. So I would say make it individual and also lead by example.
Okay, good. Bernard.
Yeah, that was a great question. I love this one. So we've got our kids hooked on it, and they're 8. Sterling's 8, Carmen's 5, and the key thing is for me is asking them the question all the time is like, what do you love doing most in life? And it's like, well, I love spending time with Dad, love spending time with Mum, love spending more time together. And I say, well, if we have a tidy toy cupboard, and there's no struggle, we get to spend more time together, right? So more time for fun. So it's always
really
what's
smart.
in it. It's so simple. It's like, what's in it for you? So we dumb it right down. Let's do the toy cupboard. Let's spend 30 minutes on that today, making some improvements. So, and I just keep asking, so Sterling, why do we do this? He's like, less struggle, more time for fun. It's really simple, So they are.
That's what an answer. I love it. More time for fun.
More time for fun.
I'm going to retitle my book. Literally, I'm going to say 2-second lean for kids. More time for fun.
I was going to write a book. You've stolen it.
Oh yeah, God! Just a subtitle, and I'll put your face on it. That is really good. That is really, really good.
Because what's value adding for kids, right? It's more fun, more time for fun, and that's all they care about.
More time for fun.
Anyway.
That's good. More time for fun.
That reminds me about the change management model, ADKAR: awareness, then desire. What's in it for me? And then you give them the knowledge, then you give them check their ability, and then you reinforce it. That's so true and down to earth.
More time for fun.
It's
I love
perfect.
It. Awesome. Great job. Okay, next one.
Did
we get everyone? I got everyone, didn't I? Yeah.
Next one. Okay, how to inspire GMs of our group to make and share 2-second improvements. Few of their responses in regards to this. We are working on big projects which will take months to complete. They want to do actual improvement projects instead of cleaning kitchens or toilets. It looks like going to church. Oh, I love this one.
Great question.
Okay, Brandon, you're going to go first.
I got to reread that one. So we are working on big projects that take months to complete. They want to do actual improvements instead of cleaning kitchens and toilets. It looks like going to church. So how do I inspire GMs of our group to make and share 2-second improvements? I that was hard at first, and the only thing I could say, and the only way I got people doing it was I just shared myself. Mm-hmm. And then I praised and I praised and I praised whenever anybody else did it. And that's really the only way that I can think of that I got people to do it myself is I shared and I praised and I shared and I praised, and then
Okay.
people finally caught on.
Okay. Alex.
I think the same as for the kids, and you just need to delete by example. Just do
Okay.
improvements with the people on the shop floor. Take videos, share it in your posts and your chats, and like Pablo says, is the pull system. Not everybody will get it, and not everybody will follow. That's the truth, huh?
Right. Allison.
Yeah, I think that the big projects are important as well. But I think if someone doesn't want to do the small 2-second improvements, I think it's because they don't understand the impact that it can have on the company and the culture. I think it's crucial to have 2-second lean as part of the overall culture, and they need to understand that. So it's our job as leaders to help them understand that they need to contribute with the 2-second improvements to show their engagement in the culture, because not everyone's working on big improvements. We're all some of us are, but everyone's working on 2-second improvements. So it's key to show everybody that we are as involved in 2-second improvements as we are at growing the company with our bigger projects.
Okay, good. Pablo.
For me, it's like going to the gym. You can't expect a great result by going only 1 or 2 times a month. You have to make an habit, and the culture of the habit is more important. So small improvements are heavier, than a big one.
Okay, Bernard.
Yeah, great question and great answers from all you guys. I just always go back to things like, if you don't base your whole lean culture on lean leadership, it's over before you start. So if you haven't got the leadership team fully on board with it, you've got to keep trying. I know it's hard when you're sort of down below and looking up at leadership, if that's where you're at right now, because there's a lot of sort of hierarchies like that. But if you can keep sharing yourself, make it better by one. That's the first thing I'll say, because you're never going to get anywhere by complaining or being a victim. So just keep making it better by one, and then keep inspiring them and keep showing them the way that, hey, if we have a deep respect for people and a deep respect for resources, so we're showing people that we're humble enough to clean the bathrooms, then that's going to flow on. And imagine the uplift in a company where, so if you can convince your GM that, hey, because you got to sell it to them, hey, if that's your job, if you're in a lesser role, sell it to them and say, look, if you can do it and you're showing up on the chat every day, you're going to inspire everyone to make tiny improvements, level 1 improvements, and then more people are going to make level 2 improvements, more impactful improvements. But yeah, it's got to start there. And if you got to keep convincing, GM, don't give up. That's what I'd say. Do not give up, because you've got to keep at it.
Okay, so I'm going to answer this question too. I would say it's strictly a philosophical issue. You haven't trained the GM well enough. So that what you're basically saying is they don't want to clean, and they don't want to clean toilets. They think that's beneath them. So the first thing I would say to them is, we are a team and we do everything as a team. The second thing I would say to them is simply this: if you were a new hire at a company and the boss was cleaning the toilet next to you, what would you think? And I'd shut up and let him answer that question. And I don't think any more needs to be said. And the last answer would be what Mr. Yabe says in Japan, head of the safety program for the Shinkansen, the high-speed trains, and also head of Tessay. He would say, if your leaders are not interested in Kaizen, they can't be leaders. Okay, go ahead.
So I got one more thing to offer to Jaspreet. You're in New Zealand. Just get hold of Bernard and invite your GM to Bernard's place, and then Bernard will sell it. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Okay.
Bernard will say, come on, we're going to clean the washrooms. Why are we doing this? And he'll tell you all the reasons why, and you might sell it then.
That's
right?
good. Okay. Jaspreet's a great lean leader, so I'm happy to help again. Jaspreet, bring it on.
Okay. All right. So from Ian, should 2-second improvement videos be incentivized? We're getting improvements, but some staff are not motivated to pull out their phone and shoot.
Okay. That's an easy answer for me. Go ahead, Alex. You're up.
It's definitely no, because then there's no end to it. And you have to ask the question, why are they probably not taking any photos, videos of it? Some have difficulties technically. Some just don't even have a phone. Some are shy about it. So what I would suggest is a lead man or supervisor of that area to shoot it for them. It's just simple.
Okay.
As long as they do
Yeah,
the case, then
good. So let's just have somebody do it for them. Okay, that's a good answer. Allison, what do you say?
Absolutely not. I think that doing improvements, there's enough intrinsic motivation within doing an improvement if the improvement is celebrated correctly. So perhaps that we should look at ourselves as leaders to say, are we actually celebrating all the improvements within the team for everyone? And if we are doing that, then they should want to do this so they can feel that intrinsic motivation. So yeah, absolutely not.
Okay. All right. Brandon.
I definitely no for me, and I would just say don't underestimate the power of positive praise. It is so much more powerful than incentive. And I'll tell you this too, out of all the things that I've ever done, and I think it's maybe the most underrated leadership principle, when you praise, you are instructing at the same time, especially if you get hyper specific with the type of praise you want, because you're basically illuminating a path through the darkness for what that employee should be doing while they work for you. And to me, it just clarifies everything for that employee, and they will do it. And praise is an unbelievable motivator.
Okay. Pablo.
I tried at the first of my lean journey, I tried giving gifts or incentivizing in other way, and it was a failure, total failure. And I can say now that the proud feeling of showing in the morning meeting the improvement, it's way better, way better.
Good. Bernard.
Yeah, great answers from everyone. I totally agree. Do not incentivize, and just make sure that you're sharing those improvements in the morning meeting. If there's only one person on the chat, they're going to get a clap from everybody, and they're going to get celebrated. Won't take long before other people want to have that scratch on the back as well. So same thing, like human beings need self-esteem. You look at Maslow's hierarchy, right? You'll understand, put a picture of that in your office, and you'll soon start to understand what you need to do. So you've got to get people right up to the top, which is, self-actualization, being part of something bigger than themselves. Right. And yeah, you got to crush it. Like, praise, get on the chat, praise, and it's got to be genuine praise, right? Genuine praise.
Right. Yeah. So I have a different answer than everyone. This is, again, a total training issue. I face this problem all the time. I'm in Japan and people say to me, how do you do it? And I go, oh, it's so simple. We're going to do it right now. Everyone pull out their phone. I'm in the bus. I've got up on the screen. I say, okay, I've got everything mirrored on my screen, and boom, they're looking at it. And I say, grab those 4 photographs, drag them into iMovie. Then I shoot the video and then edit it, put the transitions in, put B-roll over the top. And I do all this in like 5 minutes in front of them. They're going, you can't be that easy. And they're doing it with me. Of course, they're doing it on their phone at the same time. And they turn into video maniacs. Literally, they're posting videos on the chat right away. And they didn't know how to do it. It was just too difficult for them. They didn't understand it. And most of the time, what I find with people that don't want to do it is they don't know how easy it is and how effective it is. And as soon as you cross that barrier, they get it. So that's my answer. Okay. Correct. And obviously never incentivize it. No, this is intrinsic completely. Okay. Let's go next question.
Okay. So I'm going to say one more thing, Paul. Just make
ahead.
sure you're the CRO, the Chief Reminding Officer. 90% of leadership is follow-up. So you just got to keep you're not going to. It might not happen after 10 reminders, 20, 30. You just got to keep going. Guys, pull out your phone, take the photo, put it on the chat. You got to keep at it. You can't give up.
Right. Another thing too is with that, there's 3 things. I learned this, and it's one of the most powerful concepts I've ever learned from a guy in the United States. I just can't remember his name right. Harry Kenworthy. You set the expectation, you inspect the expectation, and you celebrate the expectation. And you do that over and over again every day. Our expectation is we make videos and share. And then when they do it, you inspect, you set it, you inspect it. Oh, great job, you're doing it, and you celebrate it nonstop. Keep going.
Brilliant.
Let's go.
All right, let's see if you can hear this.
At the 2-Second Lean Summit, it was spoken about the sense of urgency. And in my business, I feel we're going to go out of business next week. No reason. I just am stressed out of my mind. And it shows with customer interactions, employee interactions. I'm very rush, go, go, go. Any advice on how to push that back to the point where I can dedicate more time to talking with people? When you talk with older business people, you often find they are more relaxed, more chill. And I want to do that for the sake of my customers and employees. Any advice for a young fellow?
Can you, I didn't get the very first part of it. Richard, can you?
Yeah, I can summarize it if you want, Paul.
Yeah, summarize it real quick.
Essentially, he's a young leader, and he's so engrossed that his time is so full of all the stuff that he's doing every day.
Okay, got it.
He doesn't have
I
time,
got it.
right?
Yeah, got it.
He hasn't empowered anybody yet.
That's got to be one of the most interesting questions. I'm going to just answer just quickly, real quick. I just got 2 messages from Kazakhstan, from 2 top leaders in Kazakhstan who are responsible for upwards of 37,000 students. They're educators. And they just sent me a message back and they said, Paul, you can't believe it. I just got back from Japan and I'm so relaxed. I've never been this way in my entire life. I'm not uptight about anything. I understand how we need to be smooth in the way we do things and not crazy up and down. And everybody is feeling the way I'm running everything. There is not one person in the office in our schools. Did you hear what I just said? Not one person, because everyone's on the Gemba solving problems.
Yes.
And I am so relaxed. It's like I couldn't imagine it could work like this. Leroy, you got to figure out what's going on, get more on the Gamma, work with your people, solve the problem. That's my initial thought right now. But go ahead. Bernard, you go first.
Okay, burned out, stressed out guy. I've been there, done that. And the goal in any business is to run drama free, right? And that's what 2-second lean helps us to do, is to run your business without any drama, because every business in this world is full of drama. So if you've got drama, then you're doing it wrong. So that's the first thing. So you're going to have to get control of your time management. I know where to send you for that. But anyway,
you need your planner, Bernard.
You need a high performance planner. That takes it all out of your head, puts it all in logical order, and your day is
GTD,
planned, your
baby.
week is planned. GTD is good too. I like that. But everything's planned. You've got to plan your day, plan your week, plan your month. You've got to ask yourself some powerful questions every week and say, why am I doing this? Why am I here? What is my purpose? You've got to get clarity, number one. Number two, you've got to plan every freaking day, every week, every month, every year. And then you will roll out of bed and your plan's in front of you. And yes, things will come in during your day to knock you off, but you've got your plan to fall back on. And that's the problem. 99% of people do not have a plan. And so even a lot of lean people I talk to don't have a plan. They're just going from one thing to the next. I'm like, plan your day, prioritize ABC 1, 2, 3, and then if you get knocked off the rails, you've got a plan to fall back on instead of wasting the rest of your day spinning your wheels, wondering where you left off and what you should do next. You've got to plan. If you don't plan, you will fail.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Pablo, next.
For me, the to-do list of Microsoft is a great tool. I start the day by writing down all the tasks, all the important things. I see the ones that I can give it to another person, and I always focus on the Gemba and stay with the people. You have to confront the problems of the Gemba and stay away from your comfort zone. Get rid of your office. You're not in an office. You need your phone, the people, and the Gemba. That's it.
Got it.
That's
completely. And just so you know, in the chat, I just posted GTD video. So if you want to know how to do GTD, this is a huge thing for me. I'm not ever stressed about anything. Everything flows in my life. There's no stress. So go ahead, Brandon.
I agree with clarity. And then the other thing that I would say, we did this years and years ago, and we actually wrote down everything that we were doing on a board. And then we said, what doesn't create value? What should we not be doing? And we started crossing things off. And it is remarkable how many things we do that don't create any value.
Beautiful.
And how just a handful of things create massive value. And those are the things we already talked about here. So I would start crossing things off.
Beautiful. Allison.
Yeah, so we have a system that we use at Seating Matters, and we call it ROCKS, where we focus are the biggest things that are going to change the business and move the business forward. Those are the things that are in our top 20% of everything that we do every day. And we actually keep that really, really simple by marking those down onto magnetic cards, and we place them onto a huge Pareto triangle, and we place those cards at the very top of the triangle. This is what I'm going to work on today. And
super cool.
Everything else, if it gets done, it gets done. It doesn't matter as long as we've worked on the top 20%.
I love, Alison, your visualization that you're doing there. That is a miracle board in Japanese. That's beautiful. Beautiful job. Okay, Alex.
You know, for a multi-location company, what worked for me was the escalation process. So we know the morning meeting, so that's a teams of 10 to 50 people. But then each plant manager needs to have a second meeting with a handful of key people that manage the site. And whatever the first meeting, the first team, the morning meeting cannot solve, the leader of that meeting will bring that up. And they have 24 hours to at least not solve the problem, but to bring a proposal.
Nice.
And then for me, every week, I would just spend 1 hour with my leaders of each plant. And so you give the sense of empowerment. They can think and figure out by themselves, you know, how to solve the problems. You're empowering them, and you're not taking the problem for them. They're trying to fix them. So when you really do that, it filters really the main problems you need to be focused on once a week. That's it. So that really worked for me.
Okay, amazing. Okay, Richard.
Next one. Okay, we did this one. We're going to do this one.
I love the voice message, incidentally. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, thank you. Nathan, how critical is it to be perceived as a fair supervisor or owner when requesting that employees actively participate in a lean culture at work? Well, looks like the fair supervisor or owner is probably being a boss instead of a leader.
Okay.
Bernard, that's what I see
take
from
that
it.
one. Okay, Richard, good. Bernard.
Okay. To be perceived as fair, always as a leader, you got to say, all my team care about really is themselves, right? What's in it for me? So why should they do lean? Because it's going to make their life easier. You got to keep selling this concept to them. It's going to remove struggle. Every day their life's going to get a little bit better at work and at home, their health, if they apply these principles. So it's not about being fair. It's about being the best boss they've ever had, or the best manager or best leader they've ever had. So, you know, you're not letting them off the hook. If you don't insist on an improvement every day, you're not letting them off the hook. You're failing them, because you're not going to lift them up.
Answer.
Right? Your job every day is to help your team achieve their biggest life goals. And how are you going to achieve the goal? Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, here I read the question over and over again, trying to figure out what Nathan is really asking. What I think he's asking is, I don't know, but I think he's saying, you know, you're a boss and you let some people make improvements and the other people don't have to make improvements. What do you think? Is that what he's saying? When requesting that employees actively participate in a lean culture at work.
Yeah, well, he's trying to. Oh, yeah, you go, Paul. Sorry.
What do you think? Bernard, is that what he's trying to say?
I think he's trying to. Yeah, I think he's trying to say, well, his people are pushing back and saying, you're not fair. You can't push this on us. So he hasn't solved the concept. That's my
fair supervisor or owner when requesting the employees actually. Okay, I don't know. Pablo, go ahead. What do you think? What's your interpretation?
I've learned in Japan with Mr. Yabe that leaders must be strict, warm-hearted, and fair.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I remember that he said it's the best one to build a respectful relation. So I think that fair part is just for that, a respectful relation with the people.
Absolutely. Okay, Brandon.
I don't know if I really worry about the word fair too often. I just focus on being more inspiring and learning what they need from me, being supporting and understanding what they're up against. And I found when you really understand what they're dealing with and you ask them good questions, it's amazing how they light up. So I don't spend a lot of time with, to be honest, with being fair, although I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's not something I worry about.
It's not the issue you have to deal with, but I think your word that you said, being supportive, is very, very important. Allison, go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually have two answers because I'm not really sure if it's like what everyone else thinks it is, or if it's what you think it is, Paul, where they're allowing some people to do improvements and some people not to. So I have two answers. So in Michael Althoff's book, he says that for lean to work, it has to work for the customer, it has to work for you, the person doing the improvement, the employee, and it has to work for the business. An improvement's not really an improvement unless it works for all three of those. So that is fair. So and it's easy to explain that. And I also have the other option where I seen a speaker a few years back at the Lean Summit in California. I think it was Sami Obara maybe, and he had talked about at Toyota, they had lean is in your company. As a leader, you need to decide if lean is an option or not. And Toyota decided that lean was not an option. It's a requirement. Everybody's contract at Seating Matters, for instance, states that we are hired. So if I was an accountant, for instance, I'm hired as an accountant to improve the process of accounts at Seating Matters. So it's my job to improve the process.
I think I love your answer, just because, again, I think we have to spend more time explaining to people philosophically what it is we're trying to do. Well done, Allison. Alex.
I still honestly don't understand the question, but if it's like a supervisor that is not being fair, I don't see that problem, because I dedicate, for example, my time for those that want it. So it's not like I'm pushing someone, you need to be doing this. If they don't want to do it, they're not going to get praised and recognized in the videos in the morning meeting and being invited to teach, to go, to learn. So it's a pull system, you know. I don't feel we have the fear factor in a lean culture.
Okay. Next question.
Next question. When starting out with Kanban for inventory level control, is there any inventory models that can be used to best support the process? He wants the calculation of minimum and maximum stock levels, reorder points, pull points, replenish points to be as simple as possible so the system can be maintained easily and we don't have inventory waste or stock outs.
Well, I have an answer, but I'm going to wait. I'll let anybody want to take that one first?
For me, it's simple.
Go ahead.
For me,
Pablo.
Kanban should be as simple as it can be. And you should treat the Kanban cards as a one-piece flow, like in production. So for me, that's it. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Brandon?
I don't deal with a lot of inventory being in construction.
Right.
but I just ran off of historical. If I ran out too quick and had to reorder too quick, I brought in a little bit more.
Right. And I'll just add to Brandon's comment, because that's exactly what I would say. The historical information, though, is on our Kanban card. So on the back of it, it tells us whenever we've reordered. So we can quickly look at that and say, oh, well, we reordered a month ago, or we reordered 6 months ago. Why in the heck are we keeping these high levels of inventory? The information is right there. We don't even have to dig for that information. It's on the card. Okay.
Next one.
Allison, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Allison,
I was going to say,
sorry.
So when starting out with Kanban, and there is no historical information maybe that identified on the back of the Kanban card, for us, what we had done was we had based it on what our customer lead time is and what your promised lead time is for the supplier. And there will be a calculation there. For us, we promise our customer within 3 weeks, you will have your product. So we will always have 3 weeks of stock, based on how often the supplier can deliver to us. And as Brannon had said, with Kanban is itself a continuous improvement item. Every single time you have that product in that Kanban in your hand, you are looking at that for improvements. So Kanban will always be the minimum and maximum stock levels will always be changing.
Beautiful. Okay, Alex.
Yeah, we manufacture everything that we do. We sell. We don't really store, but we do use for consumables. And I'm like Brandon, is write it in the back of the card. And if I need a little more, and the history tells me that I don't need that much, I adjust this accordingly. But it's not really rocket science. There's no formula.
Okay.
It's just case by case.
Okay. Great answer, Bernard.
Yeah, it's good. Everyone's answers are brilliant. One thing I find helpful is start in a simple way. So start in the bathroom and then the kitchen, and just get it working in there, and then you'll figure out, and then maybe just apply it to then roll it out. Start simple.
So start with something simple.
Work.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So that you're not going to tip the business on its head.
I think the diversity of answers from this group is fascinating.
Awesome.
Everyone's got to be helped at some extent here. This is cool.
Brilliant.
Okay, Richard.
Page full of notes already.
Excellent. Next one. So there's another one from Putra. He's my buddy. What is your Gamber walk routine? I.e., dedicated time in the day for X minutes, record observations on an improvement board, bring up during morning meeting. What's your Gamber walk routine?
Good question.
God, that's a great answer. Oh God, I want to answer that one, but I won't. But go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
This is probably my most favorite activity of the whole lean thing. Is just being out there in the shop floor, talking with people, and there's so many things you see. But more than the routine. What
was that, Alex? Did I lose you?
He's frozen.
He's frozen.
Okay.
Next one.
So Bernard, go ahead.
So for me, I do put it in my diary. So every day. Oh, he's still going. He's back.
We lost you, Alex, for a second. You froze.
Oh, sorry. So the number one thing I've learned from the Gamber walks is to look at the process. At the people and not at the process, because we normally would look at the process and forget what's going on with the burden of the people. It's
good.
Key.
Okay, Bernard.
Yeah, it's good. So what works for me is putting it in my diary as a blocked out time every day. Sometimes it's random, but mostly it's planned in. And but people don't know when I'm coming, so it's like yesterday I was in our Tauranga factory. They didn't know I was coming, and then I go around and just ask every single person, like, what's the goal for today? What's the target? How are we tracking for target?
Right.
Yeah. So just asking some interesting questions about their role. And like yesterday, I found about 6 or 7 improvement opportunities straight away, and then I put them straight onto the group chat, which is the leadership chat for that factory. And I'll say, hey, I found some gaps here. Can you guys address this in tomorrow's morning meeting? So it's very much one piece flow, hit it quickly, and then it'll get raised at the next meeting. That works really well for us. Okay. It'll be sometimes a photo, like we say, this area is sloppy. What's going on here? We've got some build up here. We've got something out of place or something not labeled. So get a photo straight away, upload it to the applicable chat, and the right people are seeing it straight away.
Okay, awesome, Brandon.
I was in construction. I had to travel quite a way, so I do it in larger chunks. That was my big thing, so I had to adapt it. So I do it a couple times a week, but I'd spend hours out there. And I would say one of my favorite things that I started doing was I would give a challenge to the crew, and I'd say, let's find 5 improvements before I leave here. And when they didn't know where to look and things like that, I also found that not naming the wastes, kind of like the generic type of waste, I would ask them specific questions that were specific to their work. And it was amazing how they would just find things, and you'd walk out with 5, 6, 7 improvements. And that's what I would like to do. And it really got those guys on fire. And at first 5 seemed like a lot, but it's amazing what they can do when they stretch themselves.
Super challenge. I love it. Allison.
Yeah, so I don't have a routine. I am on the Gamba multiple times a day, and it really just depends on what's happening that day. I will always make a point of speaking to people about an improvement that they had put into the WhatsApp chat, or going to speak to someone about their morning meeting. And we have another chat where we're able to see if there's any issues, so any stop the line issues that they happen all day every day. So I do like to go and see what happened and what is the improvement live there and then. So it's ad hoc. You don't know when a problem is going to occur. So if I'm available, I will appear for a judoka stop the line moment and see if I can help out with the improvement.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, I think Pablo, you're the only one who didn't answer.
Yeah, for me, the Gemba is like my office. I'm always on the Gemba, but I have a Gemba walk with the production managers, and I wait until after the morning meeting, the production starts, and when it's stable, I pick them and we go around looking for every process. What can we improve? What are the needs for machinery? Method, material.
Yeah,
and
Hank of 10.
Yeah, and then when I see someone making an improvement or someone with a problem, I just dive in and ask questions and help. But for me, it's all the time.
Yeah. So I would say with Pablo, that would be my answer too. What's an office? I don't even know what an office is. There's no other place to be but the Gemba. But you know that everyone's got different things they have to do every day. But for me, I don't have an office. I'm always on the Gemba. Okay,
that's great. Can I add one tip, Paul?
Yeah.
We have a Gemba walk checklist, and so because there's different tools and things we use across the business, and so we have a checklist to look out for. Otherwise you often miss things. So we try and mistake-proof that process.
Beautiful. Excellent.
Yeah, I just gave everybody a leader standard work 12 questions, so that might help you as well. Talks about standards and everything like that.
Nice.
Okay, if you're doing a Gamber walk, you're looking for disruptors. So that's really what you want. If everything's flowing, it's great.
Richard, so we're 45 minutes, so you know that we're into this. So what's our target here?
An hour. We're good for an hour.
Okay. So I want to leave one moment here. So I just wanted to say something. Mark, I know you're listening. You're the man with 10 times more wisdom than all of us here. So at the end, maybe the last 5 minutes, we'd like you to chime in if you feel comfortable, Mark, and just give us your take on whatever you want to tell us, because when you're in the room, we want to listen. Okay. So if Mark will do that.
Yeah, I'll spotlight him, Paul.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay.
All right. So there
Next
you go.
One. How to approach joining a new team as a leader, especially when you do not have much knowledge of the department? I love it.
Okay, Alex, you're up.
With certainly with humbleness and not being the boss-like attitude. You're there to learn and to help them out. Just focus how we can help our people. That's all we can do.
So Mr. Yabe answer. Mr. Yabe says he didn't say anything for a year and a half when he took over Tesse. He just watched and learned. Okay, Allison.
Wow.
Yeah, I've the exact same. I actually seen a quote today that the best leadership tool that we have is our ears, and for us to go in and just watch and listen and feel the dynamic for a long time, and don't even think about being the leader just yet. That will naturally happen once you start to learn.
Beautiful answer. Brandon.
Just like Allison, I met with our mechanics, and they're in a different division, and I went out there and I just asked questions and questions and questions, and I could not believe what I learned in 20 minutes of questions. And that's what my recommendation would be. Just learn the inside and out and every frustration that they have.
Beautiful. Pablo.
Yeah, I agree with all the answers, but I can add that you have to not only look for the process and understand the process, but also the people. Look for the people. How are they? How comfortable they are? What are the problems? That's a super important thing to also.
Okay. And I just want to say
Nice.
to all the people on the panel, this has been the easiest moderator I've ever done. Everybody's not bloviating. Everyone's getting pithy, getting right to the point. Well done. Bernard.
Awesome. Yeah, loving it. So I agree with everybody. Humility, servant leadership, right? You're serving those that you lead. We've got some great examples in history, and we all know who the greatest servant leader ever was. And then we just need to be yeah, I mean, asking questions. Absolutely love of what you said about using your ears. Use your ears, ask questions and just shut up and listen, ask another question.
Right.
So probing questions, getting to the bottom of what their role is, understanding each person's role, understanding the work. You've got to, you've got to be like you're a doctor or a consultant, right? You're asking questions, and then you can start to diagnose once you've learnt. But be a servant leader, and remember that service is the highest honor in the world. Providing uplifting service is your job every single day. Bring the energy, bring the service. That's Anyway, I could talk for hours on that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Next question.
Okay. From Granger, after 2 second lean pillars and Kanban, which I see so much great videos on YouTube, what do you focus on next? I ask as I see so very little talk about flow across the whole business and setup time reduction, both of which bring the greatest improvement to the whole business, no matter what the department. What are your thoughts?
Okay. Allison, I'll let you take it first. Go ahead.
So it's a long question.
It is.
So how to focus once you have set up like basic 3S and you have Kanban in place, how to actually focus on process efficiency? Would that be correct? How to create more flow in the business? So
I think the
really,
question is just simple. How do you get flow in we don't talk enough about flow in the business. That's my interpretation, but maybe I'm wrong.
yeah, really, if all of us actually stood and watched our people and watched what they were doing, you would see that most of them have no flow in their processes whatsoever. And if all we did was stand and watch what they're doing, watch the people and their actual movements, we would see that we have so much more work to do. So if we just focus on that, you can watch the product, but if you watch the people, you'll find that there's a huge amount of improvement to make there.
Okay. Alex.
There's a technical side to it. You can do a balancing or a value stream and see where your bottleneck is, right? But keep it simple. Just go to Gamber and see where people are struggling. In less than 15 minutes, you could figure that out. Talk to people, listen, and Gamber talks to you.
And unclog the pipes.
Unclog the pipes.
You got it. Okay, Brandon. I'm looking for a great video on my phone that shows flow, but go ahead, Brandon.
For me, it's evenness, and what I mean by that is you can't have a whole bunch of work coming in and then no work, and then you can't have your sales going up and down and up and down. So your people are working tons of hours and no hours. And to me, that's a huge factor. You need it to be smooth so that that their operations can be smooth. And I think that's really overlooked. They can't be going up and down and back and forth and expect any flow.
Completely. Okay, Pablo.
Simple. Focus on people, just like Alison and Alex said. You can be technical with bottlenecks and even the production flow, but focus on people, see who's struggling, what are the problems, and that's it.
Okay,
that's good.
Bernard.
Yeah, so just building on that, you can start training your people on the 3 MUs. We've got a great little poster how they work, because it's not just about waste, it's about, so you put Muda, Mura and Murai together and they see how they connect. So unevenness and overburden and waste. And if your people start, so if everyone's learned the 8 wastes, now start teaching them and training them about the 3 MUs, we call them. That's really powerful. And then like everyone's saying, get to the Gemba, and just, I think standing and watching is so underrated, and observing and making notes, and you just see so, that's where you see the struggle, and then start to work with the team on creating flow, undoing those bottlenecks, unclogging the pipe, and and drawing pictures does help. You got to visualize it for people. So I'm a big fan of whiteboards and drawing a picture of the flow of the factory, and doing that on the Gemba though. So making sure people are right on the spot. I don't know if that helps.
Yes.
Can I come in on
go
this
ahead.
one?
Yeah, please.
Okay, because during the business that I was in, uh, we tried to reduce batch sizes, and obviously to get to one piece flow, you can't reduce batch sizes unless you cut your setups down. Because we had a lot of CNC machines with like 6-hour setups, and we said we got to get the setups down to 15 minutes, otherwise we can't reduce the batch sizes. And I think this is what Granger's getting at, that all of the chat across all of the groups that he's probably on always talks about the small little incremental improvements that everybody's doing every single day. Whereas a big one like setup time reduction is huge. If you've done so many videos, Paul, on reducing setups. I've seen,
Right.
from 10 years ago, it was
Right.
incredible. I mean, this is a real key thing that you got to get your setups down, because it's totally non-value added.
Mm.
But nobody's chatting about it. I think that's what Granger's asking.
Well, I think that's a great point. And yeah, SMED,
Mm.
single minute exchange of die. My response, first of all, I think you're absolutely right, Richard. Flow should be your life. And so Granger's asking, should that be an emphasis? It absolutely should be. If there's not flow in your business and everything you do, you've got a huge problem. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing? One thing that's really helped us as a business, and it might help you guys, is start doing we just call them mini Kaizen events. So you get the whole team around a problem, and there might be 10 people in the group or 15, and you kind of moderate it and say, guys, we've got 15 minutes or 20 minutes to brainstorm this, see if there's something we can do immediately to change this. That really is really helpful, because if you've got people that are making level 1 improvements, but no one's making level 2 improvements, like bigger, chunkier stuff, that's a real help, getting everyone together just for 15, 20 minutes. It's incredible.
Okay.
Okay,
Excellent.
we got like 6 minutes left.
Okay,
I'm going to give I'm going
let's
to
get
give
Mark.
Mark
Let's get Mark and
let's
see
do
if
one
Mark
more.
will help us.
Okay, here's one from me. We've seen
Okay.
5S, sort, set in order, shine, standardize, sustain, leaned out to 3S, which makes much more sense. What order do you perform the first 2 S's, and why?
Okay. Yeah, I get this question all the time. Me, it's simple. You can't. How could you do anything unless the area is clean? So if you're in a kitchen, the first thing is wash the dishes, and then you can sort through the dishes that you don't need, and then you can create standards on where the dishes are kept. That's my response. Go ahead,
Okay.
Alex.
Yeah, definitely. Like you always say, is you clean by looking for problems, right? So by just wiping down, giving a little love to your machine, and you will find out what needs to be improved.
Mhm.
That's I agree.
Okay.
The same sequence.
Okay, Allison.
I'm going to disagree. And I'm going to say, yeah, definitely sort. We need to distinguish between what's needed and not needed. And when we decide that it's not needed, then we move it, we sweep it to one side, and then also clean. While we're cleaning, yes, there is sorting. But yeah, I would automatically go to distinguishing between what's needed and not needed. Therefore, I can clean easier. And then always standardize as the last. Yeah.
Okay. Brandon.
I'm exactly like Allison. I'm on that side too. You got to get the stuff you don't need out of there, or else how do you clean it? You got stuff sitting all over the place. And I always also have this rule, like if my kids need to do a little bit better on their room, I always have a goal. You got to get 50% of the stuff you don't need out first. That's always my goal. Half of it out, and now we can get the cleaning and vacuuming and all that other stuff and standardizing.
Okay. Pablo.
Yeah, shine and order. But something that is very important is, don't forget the sustain. The sustain is super important. We changed our morning meeting on Monday. We cut the 3Sing time, because the factory is super clean and super organized. And we work on the sustain. We create culture. We talk about our problems and we find out solutions. But the sustain part, you shouldn't leave it to the end of the 5S.
Okay. Bernard.
Yeah, it's good. I agree with everybody. When we 3S, sweep, sort, standardize, sweeping and sorting kind of happens at the same time. You sweep, get the clutter out, chuck it in the bin, sweep, so yeah, that's us. Simple.
Chuck it on the burn. That's a good
Okay, I'm going to push back on Alison and Brannon here,
Okay.
because I love sweep, sort, standardize, right? Sweep because
Yeah.
you're going to look for problems, and while you're discovering problems, you discover stuff you don't need. But here's the reason I'm pushing back, because once you're into 3S and you do it every single day, you are not going to have a lot of crap around. It's all gone.
Right.
So
Yeah,
every
I
single
agree.
day, you are going to sweep, shine, make everything clean. And occasionally, you might discover something that's not necessary because Fred
Yeah.
went and dumped something in your area. So
Right.
there's my
Right.
take on it. It
Nice.
it
Okay.
should not be sort,
I'm
sweep,
not going to jump
standardize.
into this controversy at all, but I'll let you handle it all, Richard. Okay, let's get to Mark. We only have
Let's
5
go.
minutes. We got to get to Mark here.
All
Come
right,
on.
let's
We
see
got to come on.
if I can get Mark to be a.
So people don't know, maybe a lot of people don't know who Mark Warren is. He's like the guru, the top guru in lean thinking. He's been around for a long time and he knows his stuff. And to hear from him would be wonderful. It's like having Taichi Ono with us.
Okay,
Mark.
here's Mark.
Hey, Paul, thanks.
Okay,
Sounds like you're in Vietnam, you said?
I am. I'm kite surfing.
Go get some pho in the morning.
Yeah, you got it. I love it, man. It's amazing, isn't it? In the morning too. I have it. Go ahead.
Mark is our incredible historian. He knows TWI. I think he actually wrote it himself, but
Yeah, I think so.
incredible person.
Okay.
Well, I think my history reputation kind of overshadows what I've done in factories, but I would like to go back to Granger's point,
Mhm.
looking about
Yes.
flow and setup reductions, or just setup. So what a lot of you may not realize is Ono, his first kind of epiphany for trying to create lean came from seeing a factory that had been reorganized for flow. So there's 4 core principles. And this was the driving piece that he was trying to achieve as he began to put together the, what we know as lean or Toyota production system. So the other piece, and Paul, I want to thank you for putting Rizzio together with me before he passed away.
What a loss, but yeah, I'm so happy you got with him.
So fortunately, he managed to help me get the copies of basically almost all of his father's original books in Japanese. And those Japanese versions are a good bit different than what we had seen and published here in the US. And I would like to stress that he really went on quite a bit about setup production. And there's a lot that we have missed in the US and in Europe in the work that he's done with setup productions. And there are a lot of steps that you can do to make very efficiently to do setup productions. And that's something that you can't do it in 5 minutes, but I'm open to talking with people. I'm semi-retired now, and my fun part is going to factories and helping them.
Yes.
So I'm kind of open. I'm exploring opportunities to play mentor to people who really want to learn.
Yeah, you'll definitely go to the next level with Mark. Mark, I'm just going to comment on something you said about Riccio and Shigeo Shingo. So one of the key things in SMED, single minute exchange of die, is toolless and no adjustment. So when you're making these quick changeovers to create this flow, you want to do it with the idea, the target, that there is no adjustment to the change out and there is no tool. And in Japan, because I'm in Japan all the time, that's all I do is I show people these unbelievable 4 and 5 die changes in 5 minutes with all automation, and there's no tools and there's no adjustment. It takes your breath away.
So absolutely. So there's some layers about how you go about that. And that's the piece that so many people miss, is they don't realize the adjusting part is often where so much of your time is eaten up. But some of the other stuff that we've done with the TWI programs and combining that with the SMED or the setup production is, especially where you have longer setup times and you have multiple people, we actually write out job breakdowns on what each person does.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, well, all you have to do is watch a pit stop in a race car, and everybody has their exact work to do, and that's
it is
the
time to
pattern.
perfection.
Yep, and we do that, and there's a number of companies that we've done that where we've improved their setup times to such a point that they have stopped purchases of extra equipment for capacity. You find that you have all sorts of hidden capacity if you can, especially if you're a high mix environment.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow. Especially really good answer, Mark. So let's go ahead and wrap it. Mark, thank you so much for commenting. When we have you around, we definitely want to get your input on things. And Richard, I'm going to let you go back to you and let's wrap it up. And thank you everyone for coming. It's been amazing, and for all the people who participated as well.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for my team. I'm not going to put you back in the immersive view right now, but
okay,
Paul, obviously you got up at 20 minutes to 4 in the morning for this, which
Thank you,
is
Paul.
phenomenal.
It's all good. It's all good.
And our resident leaders, Bernard and Alex, along with Paul, thank you again. And for our guest leaders today, Brannon, Pablo,
Allison.
and last but not least, Allison. And please don't worry that I pushed back on you, but you were great. All of you were fantastic, and we're going to have another one of these sessions in the very near future. We'll let you know when everybody agrees. But amazing stuff. Thank you, all of you. Thank you.
And we'll see everyone
Thanks,
next
everybody.
month.